Peace, peace. How you doing today? It's April the 2nd, 2025. I hope you've been enjoying the videos, the climbing video. I got about another 6 weeks of the climbing season, so I'm going to be focused on that. Once it's over, I'll be, making more meditation videos, healing arts videos. And I hope you all tried the microcosmic orbit meditation. That's a very powerful understanding about how a person can stay healthy. And it's a great place to start in beginning to gain control over the subtle flow of energy in your body. Because once again, that microcosmic orbit, that is the primary flow of electromagnetism, chi, prana, the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, organ, baraka, there's different names. Electromagnetism, but that circuit, and understand this, the meditation is just an observation of the flow of energy. Like, nobody made up the microcosmic orbit. It simply is. It's a potential flow of energy that can only benefit your life, but in most of us, it's blocked because we carry in negativities. Negative emotions are what block the microcosmic orbit. Okay? Now, but today I want to focus on something different. I want to go back to the grounding. I want to give you I spiral my teachings. I come to them, I move on to new teachings, I come back around to them. There's only 4 topics I'm really covering here with y'all. The grounding, emotional alchemy, grounding, the horse dance, the climbing, the being on the ground, the emotional alchemy, which is the 6 healing sounds, the sexual alchemy, the semen retention. There are partner practices which I haven't shared yet. There's a meditation on the menstruation for women which I can't share. A woman has to share it. I don't do that. And then the 4th is the microcosmic orbit. So you have the microcosmic orbit, sexual alchemy, emotional alchemy, and grounding. Those are the 4 things I've been sharing with you all these years. I've been giving you insights into the work that I've learned. And it goes much further than that. But those 4 right there, what you can use to achieve, you can achieve perfect health with those 4 principles, okay? So I want to educate you, because I'm not saying people really tune into the grounding. Like, how serious it is and why I talk to you about it so much. So I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to explain to you so you can understand why grounding it's the key to a strong body. Like, I'll go so far as to say grounding is as important or even more important than a good diet. And I know many of you that will anger many of you because you're so focused on diet. But listen to what I'm explaining to you and you'll understand why I say that. Remember, your food comes from the earth. The grounding actually precedes the ingestion of food. Because a lot of what you're getting from your food is coming from the earth and is actually available in the earth. Okay? So listen very closely. There's 2 elements to grounding. There's the alignment of your bone structure and the balancing of that bone structure to allow for the proper flow of energy, for the microcosmic orbit to be open, and for the minor meridians to be open. All right, structural alignment. That's not what I'm going to focus on in this talk. I want to focus on what's called electron absorption. Okay? Now, that key word, electrons, and I want you to research that word. Now, how that equates to grounding is this. Electrons can be absorbed into the body in 2 ways. Well, 3. Through the mantle of the earth. Electrons flow through the mantle of the earth itself. That's the primary way we could contact with them. But in our modern society, we don't, because we're insulated with synthetic materials. So the primary way to absorb electrons for most of us has been cut, flowing through the mantle of the earth. The second way you could absorb electrons is through your diet, and many people are focused on that method. And so how it relates to diet is simply this. Cooked foods, processed foods, foods with preservatives in them, they're going to be deficient of electrons. Foods that are going to have electrons in them are going to be your raw living foods, your fruits, your vegetables, your sushi. You could eat meats, but it would have to be meat that's raw. That would still be alive. A raw egg. The electrons are equated to life force, something that's alive. Okay. So you get that right. Now, what do electrons do in the body that's so critical to our health? There's a third way you can absorb electrons, excuse me. Do other people, do living beings, do your dog, do children, you know. And the problem with that is you can kind of get into a kind of a succubus vampire type of a thing. And I would speculate that the whole notion of vampires comes from people who, they're blood suckers. They're sucking the charge off of another person's blood, the electrons, the electricity, you know. And we all know people who, that's their thing, you know. Their thing is to get around people who manifest, who have energy, and to vampire them, okay? So those three forms, the mantle of the earth, your diet, and other living beings. So let's focus on the mantle of the earth. Oh, excuse me, let's focus on what electrons do in the body. Because as always, I want to keep the video under 10 minutes. So I hope I'm not speaking too quickly. What electrons do, right, in the body. Now, from the mantle of the earth, you would absorb electrons ideally through the feet walking. Because remember, we evolved from a primitive form. We lived naked on the earth, sleeping in caves, sleeping in grass huts, sleeping in rocky overhangs for all of our evolution. It's only been in the past 70 years that we've begun to live in ways that separate us from the mantle of the earth. It's really the advent of the petroleum age, when we began to create synthetic materials, plastics and rubber linings on a lot of materials, synthetic rubbers. These things don't allow electromagnetism to flow through them. So they prevent you from even synthetic materials, polyester, rayon. When you're wearing these fabrics, if you go sit next to a tree or on the ground, you're not going to get the same absorption than if you were wearing cotton or linen or wool or some natural material that would allow this energy to be conducted. Okay? So, let's just say you are properly grounded. What are electrons doing in the body? Why are electrons so crucial? Why am I constantly talking about grounding and electrons? All right. What the electrons do is specific and crucial. Electrons within the body, right, they shuttle the dissolved minerals within your blood through the cell membrane. Let me repeat that. The food that you ingest, the nutrients that you've consumed that are absorbed within your blood, they're flowing through your bloodstream now. All right? They've been taken into your body. Now the body is looking to utilize these dissolved elements to build itself, to repair tissues, to repair the nervous system, to become you. So in order for this to happen, the dissolved nitrogen, sodium, calcium that's within the blood, the electrons, I don't want to use the word bond, but they shuttle these dissolved nutrients through the semi-permeable cell membranes into the cell itself where they can be utilized. Now this is the most important thing that I've been attempting to share with you all. When you're deficient in electrons, when you're ungrounded electromagnetically, you don't have enough electrons in you to absorb what you've eaten. Let me repeat that. You could be on the perfect diet. You could be eating everything you need to eat. You could be taking your vitamins and minerals. But if you have insufficient electrons within you, the stuff can't even be properly absorbed. All right? Now, what's the side effect of that? What's the side effect of electron deficiency? Which I'm telling you, 99% of you are suffering from. 99% of you watching this video are electron deficient from either slightly to hugely. Some of you probably have no electrons in your body. It's why your eyes are dull, your skin is dull, you have no energy, you have constipation, you have all of these ailments because your body is not able to move the nutrients from the blood to within the cells. Now, what happens when the body can't, when you're electron deficient, what is happening within the body? The unabsorbed nutrients in the blood act as irritants to the cell membranes. They're not being absorbed, they're just flowing through. And so these irritants, these unabsorbed nutrients, cause the body to secrete mucus in response to being irritated. Now, some of you might see where this is going, because you know about mucus in the body. That's been talked about by many health practitioners. One who comes to mind is Dr. Sebi. He constantly talked about eliminating mucus. And he had very many dietary methods and tonics for doing this. I'm telling you that even on the electron deficiency is what causes the excess mucus in the body. All right? So these undissolved nutrients, now causing excess mucus to be secreted, begin to clump together and precipitate out in the blood as irritants in the joints that become arthritis. That's your arthritis now. These are unabsorbed nutrients in your joints, irritating you, causing friction. They're going to precipitate out in the organs, particularly the lower organs, the kidneys, the gallbladder, as stones. Kidney stones, gallbladder stones. These are all precipitates. These are nutrients that have not been absorbed and utilized by the cells, coated with mucus, sticking together and forming stones. The sludge will also precipitate in the bloodstream as cholesterol plaque. It's going to collect, all the precipitates collect in the bends. They're going to collect in the bends of your arteries. They're going to collect in the bends of your joints. That's where the sediment will gather. The mucus will cause it to stick together, and it becomes irritants. That is most of the aging process. That's what you middle-aged people are feeling. That's what you're feeling when you get up. That's the achy, swollen, inflamed sensation, the irritation. Those are your headaches. I guarantee you, electron deficiency is the number one ailment of our modern world. It really is, you know. And there's the information. So what can we do about it, you know? Because I can't get outside and rock climb like you do, Master Juju. What can I do? All is not lost, you know. Like, there's new technologies out here. I've shared with you there's grounding shoes that you can wear now that can help you stay connected to the electron flow. There's sheets that you can sleep on that can make the connection. So the technology is beginning to catch up with this understanding, this way we kind of lost ourselves, you know, and our technological development. But there's the information. All right, now I want y'all to think about that. Many of you who are suffering from arthritis and high blood pressure, and let me tell you this, the interesting thing about grounding on the earth, the practices that I'm sharing with you, the horse stance, the barefoot climbing, within an hour or two, you can absorb enough electrons to completely offset however deficient you may have been. It's an amazing. There are few things that you can have such an immediate sense of relief as grounding. It doesn't take weeks or days. In one session, if you absorb the electrons, you're going to feel the difference. It's immediate. Now, the electrons aren't going to stay in your body. It's something that you have to stay connected to. Remember, we evolved like how you see a deer or a squirrel or a rabbit has evolved. We lived on the bare earth. It's only in the past 70 years, I reiterate, that we live these artificial lives where you live in a synthetic house with artificial carpets. You drive a car with rubber tires. You wear shoes with synthetic soles. Your clothes are made from synthetics. You're on a phone that, although it generates electromagnetism, it's hardly in the right frequency for health. There are so many things in our world that make grounding not only necessary, but more necessary than it would be under normal conditions. But the situation is actually the opposite, in which you're not grounded at all. So I think that's enough information for one video. I talk fast, but once again, I want to keep the videos as close to 10 minutes as possible. So And you can go back and rewatch it. I think I presented the information pretty clearly. I hope I did. If I made any mistakes, don't be afraid to point them out. You know, I'm not here to be right. I'm here to get to the bottom of this whole situation. I'm just like you all, man. I was suffering from the different electron deficiency illnesses. Like, I didn't know that's what it was. It's taken years to learn that that's the cause of the problem, you know. But it's also one of the reasons why you can see me at 52 years old. There's a suppleness to me. You watch my climbing videos, like, hey, man, like, you see I'm using my body at a pretty high level. If I was to stop grounding for 2 or 3 days, my knees would start to ache. So I'm not special in that regard. I've just have learned about this information as a young man. Like, I began to be initiated into this stuff at 25, 26, 27. I'm 52, so I've had a lot of years to benefit from it, you know. But anybody could start at any point in life and get grounded. So I'm going to keep coming hard with the grounding. I just truly believe it is the most significant, one of the most significant elements that we've lost in our modern world as relates to health, vitality, and longevity. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And I've shared many grounding techniques. You can go back through the video section on my Facebook page or any of my playlists on YouTube. And there's horse stance, there's barefoot climbing. There's some other stuff I'm going to share too. So, and give that microcosmic orbit meditation a try. And I'll be back with some more information soon. Okay? All right. Have a great day.